as a dabbler, let's say, in the art of gambling, if you want to call it that, it was interesting to me because we've had a couple of big stories in sports right now. And Jonte Porter was banned for life in April after purposefully limiting his own performance in a game in which he bet unders on prop bets related to himself. Like that's real. Like there's nothing that takes this away. We have baseball involved in this also, as Padres infielder Tucupita Marcano banned for life from MLB yesterday for placing bets on the Pittsburgh Pirates while he was on the Pirates IL last year. He placed 387 baseball-related bets over a 13-month stretch. Only won 4.3% of his wagers. Not very good at this. So, and you know, we've all listened to a summer full of Shohei speculation, right? But you start looking at it and saying, hey, I mean, C-Rob, we were at the Super Bowl. Roger Goodell was asked up front about this. Shereen Williams asked about gambling in these games. Like, there has to be a level of the NFL that continues to be concerned with how many professional athletes in other sports right now are getting busted doing what they know they cannot do.
Yeah, especially prop bets. And that's the thing with the Porter situation. What was interesting about this, he had a couple of games where he removed himself early, right? And basically what happened was Vegas noticed. Vegas was like, wait a minute. Like when we're looking at prop bets for this particular day, there's this prop bet on Porter that's way outside the norm, you know, of what the bets are. And then it happened again. And then at that point you're like, okay, like this is twice with the same guy in kind of a similar situation where he removes himself from a game and thus falls under, right, the prop bets. And to me, I have said over and over, I think it is a half measure by any league and very much so by the NFL to ever allow any athlete while they are playing a professional sport to gamble, period. I mean, Michael Jordan golfing at the craps table, I mean, you know, betting on sports, whatever it is, because you work in a profession in which people are gambling on you. They are gambling on your performance. And you going out and gambling only opens a window for you to basically fall into a situation that's being alleged by the feds in terms of Porter, that you fall into gambling debt. And then you are now vulnerable because you got to pay back this gambling debt, again, allegedly. And how do you do that if you don't have the money? Well, you have the opportunity to fix. And that's what it is. Like we can say whatever we want about, oh, well, he affected prop bets or whatever. You are fixing something that's happening that's supposed to be unfixable, right? When we watch live sports, we're supposed to believe it's real, that these players aren't doing something manufactured in order to affect a betting market. If you do that, you are fixing a portion of a game, and thus the game itself is in some way fixed. And so in my mind, I know people argue, well, hey, athletes should be allowed to bet like anybody else. I disagree. You are in a different job than anybody else. There are jobs that people hold where you're not allowed to just go and do everything that everybody else is allowed to do. In particular, when, you know, you work for the DEA, there are certain things you can't do. When you work in professional sports, there's things that we at Yahoo Sports aren't allowed to do because we work for Yahoo, right? We can't go and take another job doing this or that. I mean, there are workplace rules. So in my mind, I think this Porter situation is a very glaring example of the worst case scenario for leagues, is that a player fell into debt allegedly and then went out and did, you know, fixed a portion of a game allegedly to mitigate gambling debt that they had fallen into. It's wild to me that the NFL has not sat there and just said, look, we got to take a hardline stance on this. Go ahead and bet the day after you're out of the league. You file your retirement papers, you're good. You know, you're off of a team. You're not in the league system. You're not on any kind of a squad. Fine. You want to gamble? Great. But you got to make sure you're done. You're done with our league, and then you can do whatever you want after that.
Yeah, growing up, I mean, shoot, it was, you don't even talk about it. You couldn't even step in a sports book.
Yeah.
The old NFL rules. My dad got fined for referencing a field goal at the end of the game and saying some people are going to be happy about that, and got fined for that. That's how strict it used to be, because NFL kind of, you know, if you ever look in the origins of the NFL, just look at how some of these owners acquired some of their teams. They never wanted to bring that up. They never wanted to bring up, like, this is a real product. These are like, this. If you want to watch professional wrestling, watch it fixed, you know, or you want to watch, this is why the NFL wanted to be different than boxing back in the day and prize fighting back in the day, because 50-50 shot, this match will be fixed that we're, you know, probably going to be trying to bet on you know, on the black market and everything. But to me, it's just the NFL, at least football, harder to do with 22 people on the field and not everybody touching the ball.
Fix a score, right? But prop bets, though, Nate.
Prop bets and everything is the ridiculous thing. To me, the rule I've always liked is just kind of what I grew up with, was that if you are in a league, you can't bet on sports, period. Always the loophole was horse wagering, because it was pari-mutuel. Again, look at the owners of the NFL and how they acquire their money in horse racing. So that's why there was always a loophole for that. But in table games and everything. But that's how I grew up, and I still have kind of considered that, even if they've changed it and they made it lax. And I'm all about, like, players having more power over their lives and not, as maybe draconian rules over them. But to me, it's kind of like don't even bring questions to it. Like when Jameson Williams got hit with the stuff last year, everyone's like, man, that's harsh. He was betting on other stuff. It's like, no, but it's zero tolerance. They get told this shit, 20 times. Like, do not bet on this, because you're bringing a question mark to all our livelihoods. Yeah. I mean, because now people draw a question. Well, the refs fixed. They're doing this. I mean, just look what else is happening right now.
Listen, guys, we Fitz, you're going to move to Vegas. Nate, you live in Vegas, right?
Yeah.
My entire life, I will never forget the second Vegas Duke game. Okay. And the second run in Rebels, Larry Johnson, Stacey Augmon. And I will
cried
never
so hard.
My
So
entire
hard
life, I will
game.
never forget. Hey, watch the turnovers early in that game. Watch this, watch that. Hey, remember the famous hot tub photo of Larry Johnson, these guys in the hot tub with a gambler? Like, and to me, that's exactly what you don't want. And that was like 1990. Yep. Okay, this is 34 years later. Now, I'm just telling you, it only takes one Porter in the NFL to pull himself out of a game, to get hurt, I'm dinged. Take me to the blue tent, fail a concussion test, doesn't come back or whatever. It only takes one running back fumbling a couple of times that look a little weird.